Hey, I'm Doug Rost. Going to be working on the ABS today. I've had a lot of problems with the ABS and it's finally just crapped out. Reset it a number of times and that worked for a while, but now it's just gone. So I'm going to be removing the ABS pump, the whole unit, and sending that out to be rebuilt. It's located underneath the tank, so first we're going to take off the Tupperware, which we've done, and now we're just going to take off the tank. So ready to take the ABS unit off, and I'm going to go ahead and bleed the brakes because I don't want any brake fluid dripping off of that and getting anywhere because that will just eat through paint. It's crazy. So you've got dual calipers on the front, so you've got a nipple on each end, and I just cracked it open, put a hose on it, and then opened up the reservoir at the front brake, and then by simply pumping the brake, it's going to get a lot of the fluid out. If you got one, you can also use a brake bleeder, which is a vacuum bleeder. This is a Mighty Vac, and it just pulls suction through it. I'm going to do the back as well. Once again, I've just got I've got the nipple cracked open here and a hose hooked to it, and released the reservoir cap. I can go through and get most of it out. I just don't want this thing to spray. Up underneath the tank, we've got the main unit here. So we've got the ABS control unit here, we've got the pressure modulator here, and we've got the main relay here. And this is what we're going to be taking apart, and it is the pressure modulator, this section here, that we're going to send in. So now you've just got your hard hoses from the front brakes and back brakes to disconnect. I've got some mounting bolts on kind of all around it. We're going to disassemble that, and hopefully this will just lift right out. Never done this one before, can't find any information on it online, or there's nothing in Haynes or in Climbers, so hope for the best. Alright, with the lines drained, we got no spillage, which is terrific. Alright, so we got our 4 lines off. Either side we got a couple bolts that take a 5mm. Turns out it's easier to just take the battery out, because you got to get to this, push this down in order to release this. Now we can be careful with these lines. You don't want to be crimping these. To get the ABS unit off of this wiring harness here, it's a little tricky to figure out since there's nothing available out there, but there's a cover that you're going to take a hammer and a punch, and it's pretty tight in there, and this will slide off. When that slides off, you're going to have these 3 wires connected. You've got a plug that's in the center, a brown on this side, and a red on this side. It takes a 8mm to take the brown off and a 7mm to take the red off. When you get those off, you can then take this plug, and it looks like this plug slides, but actually it pulls straight out. So once you get that off, your unit is free and you're good to go. There's little star washers that are on there as well, and don't lose anything. Everything is neatly capped. Looks like they have got identifiers on it as soon as they get it in, and make sure you're getting the same one back. Excellent. Fantastic. Let's put it in. Installation is just going to be the reverse. We're going to have the big plug connector here plugging into here. Our hard pipes are right in the position they need to be, so you no problem figuring that out. And remember, we had this slide cover over here, so we'll first get these hooked up. Actually, we can even do that right in place. So we've taken the cover and just slid it right off, and simple, black to brown, red to red, and then the plug goes in, and there's really no way of screwing it up because the holes are different sizes. And there are little chases down at the bottom for the wires to slip in. So be sure you're following those. The red has its own, the black and the brown, they share one. We'll just slide this cover down. Alright, while we're on this side, we'll put this locking screw back in. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off just to, in case I need to wiggle this around. I'm just going to have it in there loose in case I have to wiggle this around to get these pipes in, because it looks like I've got to make a little adjustment. As you're hooking these up, just a word of caution. Make sure that you can get these started and get, you know, half a dozen turns or so using your hands, because you don't want to get this just a couple threads in and then hit it with a wrench. This is just aluminum and it's soft, and you don't want to end up stripping something, so take your time, fiddle it with it a little bit. There, that works better. And make sure that you can get, there we go, this done by hand. Get that seated. That should have no problem going all the way down. Do not force it. You're gonna screw yourself if you do. Alright, so we've got 12 millimeter on, you got two that have a 12 and you've got two that have a 10. Now that we've got these connected, we want to torque these down, and the bolts coming from the brake lines, these are going to get torqued down to 15 Newton meters, and the two bleed screws, when you loosen those and bleed and put the fluid in, those get tightened down to 9. So we're going to get these tightened on there first. Alright, that's that one. So 15 Newton meters, and the bleed will get 9. Reinstalling this, we're just going to get this hook up underneath there. And clicks right in. Perfect. Get this out of the way. Now we can put the breather back on to the airbox. Alright, starting with the front side, got to take some .4, fill up the reservoir, and give this a little quarter turn loose, the one on the right side, closest to the reservoir is going to be for the front, and we're going to pull that in. Remember, if you're getting bubbles, watch where the bubbles are coming from. If they're coming from inside the tube, or if they're coming from outside the tube, where the tube is wrapping around the nipple, you may be getting some air coming through there, and so just cut your tube and put it back on there. It could just be a little stretched out. So I just got some in there, and now I'm going to go down to the caliper. If you've never used one of these brake bleeders, basically all it's doing is you're pumping this up and you're creating pressure to pull the fluid through. This one's a Mighty Vac, and it works well. I also like to just pump the brakes a little too. This is tedious, but it's very important. The goal here is no air in the line, because air compresses and brake fluid doesn't. Now that we've done the front, we're on to the back, so we're going to start with the bleed nipple on the left side, and we're going to start the process over again. Good flow. Since the system hasn't had any fluid in there, you're going to get big burps of bubble, and that's exactly what you want. Because that's going to ensure you're getting flow all the way through the system and getting that air out that's been sitting in there. And do not let the reservoir go dry. You get a little bit of air in there, you're screwed, start over. So even though I got pressure going through there, I'm still going through and just pumping the brake a little. There we go. Good. Burp! It's really gratifying to get those big bubbles in there. And that's it. Piece of cake. I really think this is an easy fix, considering the expense of a new one, and this is a job that really anyone can do. It did not take a lot of any specialty tools. Brake bleeder, torque wrench, and a couple wrenches to take the panels off. That's it. Piece of cake. It just takes some time. The turnaround was really fast. With Module Masters, I was really pleased with that. I worked there with a guy named Tyler. Nice guy, very responsive, answered all the questions, had concerns, and he took care of them. And the turnaround, I think, they're in Moscow, Idaho. I don't know. I haven't heard of it either. So from Chicago, it took 2 days to ship it there. They had it for maybe 5 days and then back. That's for the work being done. I think that's a fast turnaround. And it sure beats the $2,500, $2,700 for a new one. So we will get this thing buttoned up. We'll get this on the road and give you a follow-up. Went for a ride this morning with the club, and brake worked good, but there was still something a little missing, like they could have been a little better. So came back and just did another brake bleed, and there were brake bubble burps, some more air in there. So it is definitely worth doing it a second time. I think it just kind of needs to run its paces through the system a little bit, and now everything really feels really good. Very impressed with the work from Module Masters, and the price savings is fantastic. Great turnaround time. I think they had this. I think they did it in about 5 days, so I had it in about a week and a half with shipping, and that's fantastic. This is a huge safety factor, and one that just works great with this bike, the ABS 2 system. So I'm glad to have that back, and no more blinking light. Can take the electrical tape off of the lights, and we're good to go.